If you clicked on this video, it is because you saw something unusual on the thumbnail. Something you already know is going to be very special. And I can confirm you are right. If you are a fan of the Yamaha Virago, you will be very impressed with the project you are about to see, because it is completely different from all custom Viragos ever made. Who would have thought the basis of a motorcycle from the 80s could allow this level of elegance to be achieved? Welcome to Racertv. This must be one of the most spectacular Viragos I have ever seen. And it is also the most exclusive approach ever taken with this Yamaha model. Because among all the customized Viragos to date, nothing like it has ever been made. This amazing project was built in Slovakia by Vlado Dinga, founder of Earth Motorcycles, and his friend Ales. You will probably remember them from these projects I presented in 2022. Interestingly, this Viragos project started before Earth Motorcycles was fully established, which means we are dealing with something extremely well thought out. Yes, I know what you are thinking. With the exception of this spectacular section, everything else looks almost factory original, doesn't it? Well, initially, I thought that too. But at the same time, I suspected it couldn't be that simple. Otherwise, others would have already tried a similar approach. If you look at all the Viragos featured on this channel so far, you will notice most of them have one thing in common. Notice how the base of the engine is very close to the ground. And this happens in both the XV and TR1 series. That is why the vast majority of custom Viragos have different suspensions, mainly at the front, to prevent the engine from being too close to the ground. And why does this happen? If you've never noticed, one of the biggest limitations in customizing the Virago model is in this frames section, because it was developed to use a very high front suspension. But the most curious thing about this project is that the suspension and front wheel were maintained, although the forks are now much shorter. And it is precisely at this point that the Earth Motorcycles team was very clever. If you look closely at this transition, you will know exactly why. Without a doubt, this frame section was significantly modified. The big question is this change really necessary? It is more than that. Fundamental is the most appropriate word. And here is why. I performed a test in Photoshop, overlaying the original section of the frame. As you can see, with the original frame structure, the fluidity and elegance of the main lines lose all coherence. I'm sure this change in the framework wasn't easy at all. But in this case, I think it couldn't be any other way, because it looks absolutely stunning. I have a hunch some of you are thinking, there is something familiar about these lines. Something you've seen in the past. Maybe this Honda. I must recognize there are some similarities in these very smooth lines. But notice how the postures are completely different. On the Honda CX, this volume appears to follow the natural shape of the engine and frame. I would say it has an attitude more typical of a bobber project. Whereas on this Yamaha, it appears to be floating. A more minimalist and extremely elegant cafe racer approach. And these are some of the features Vlad always wanted to see in a Yamaha Virago. He was always obsessed with the idea of a top-mounted V-twin engine, giving it a somewhat levitating feel. That is why he decided to cover the Virago with a very sleek body that would accentuate its beautiful engine. And to help him develop this idea, Vlad approached the Bulgarian industrial designer Konstantin Laskov. A few sketches later, he delivered a simple idea of a single tight curve with a peak above the engine, two tangents at the wheels, and the wing-shaped seat. And this became the project's design mantra. The big problem was figuring out the best way to build it. The design may even seem simple, but, as you can imagine, it is complex to create it in one single piece. Vlad and Ales tried it with a milling machine, casting, and also a 3D printer. In the end, they concluded that the good old-fashioned fiberglass was the best option. They started by making a positive mold out of wood, which allowed them to make a final negative mold out of fiberglass. This negative mold was then used to lay up the beautiful one-piece body. I would have never imagined this type of approach would look so good on a Yamaha Virago. But looking at this impressive project now, I must say Vlad was very perceptive in his choice, because the unique structure of the Virago's framework is just perfect for this build. And the same must be said about the stock wheels. Although they represent a typical feature of most Yamahas from the 80s, personally, I think these curved lines fit very well with the overall aesthetic, and painting them black was another one of Vlad's excellent choices. I must say that only thanks to the excellent work of the photographer, we are able to see the impeccable build quality of this motorcycle. Because everything looks absolutely flawless. And this quality is equally applicable to the excellent video sequences. I'm just sorry I don't have more time to show them all. As you may understand, for reasons of time, there are several details that will remain unexplained. But in a way, I think these images already speak for themselves. And the main message they convey is that the Earth Motorcycles team has created the most elegant and sublime Yamaha Virago on the planet. But if you disagree with this judgment, and if you actually live on planet Earth, I would be happy to hear your arguments. Thank you for watching Racertv. And as always, I hope to see you on the next video.